This video is brought to you today by my sponsor of Patreon. Thank you to the 3 people who are currently Patreons. That's Not Another Game Collector, Your Player 2, and of course James Broderick. If you want to join my Patreon, please feel free to click the link down below. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Why does inside affect me so much? What does inside mean? When will inside give me an answer? Who is inside? These are only a few questions that Inside looks to explore and make you question yourself. But there never really is a final answer to this game. Playdead crafted and created a masterpiece in visual and contextual storytelling. And it's a perfect game for other pretentious essayists like me to scratch our heads over. With every breakdown and story explanation, I see a clear idea of conformity and even apocalypse slavery. We're forced to view the world from the eyes of someone trying to escape the clutches of these faceless powers that now run this mysterious world. Or maybe we as the boy are the problem and they're trying to save the world from us. Inside uses many different types of storytelling techniques, but most of its techniques are those used in theatre and even film. It uses framing and setting of objects and lighting to guide the viewers and players' eyes to their goal. Mise-en-scene is one of the most important tools that can be used by directors and of course theatre producers alike. Mise-en-scene is a French term that means placing on stage, of course mostly used in theatre productions to set a scene, visual art, cinematography, and of course a narrative of objects for viewers to follow while they're in frame. Though it means placing on stage, it is not limited to of course theatre productions. It could be used within photography, film, and of course now gaming. Stanley Kubrick is seen as one of the greatest directors of all time and has an individual approach to filmmaking that only a few can hope to come close to. Every frame and object on scene has a meticulous motivation behind it. The colours of the objects, the symmetry and framing of the actors, the lighting, the camera movements, all will tell their own stories and even side narratives. Playdead brilliantly used mise-en-scene in masterful ways and I would love to show you. As the boy in red makes his way out of the barn, he must jump onto a pile of dead pigs. Here we are told 3 things that the game's lighting points us towards and asks us to make mental note of. The pigs are dead for some reason. On closer inspection, we see that there are some sort of lava-like creatures hanging out of their bodies. And thirdly, under the cart there's a pile of these lavas on the floor, proof that they can be removed. 3 simple visual ideas and narratives to tell a story of death. Just moments later as we push forward, we're seemingly attacked by a pig that has survived this infection. Or maybe he is asking for help. He too fears that same death of the other pigs, so he is only begging for mercy and asking us to help remove the lava that has now been embedded within inside him. We must remove it just as we were previously shown in the cart that they can be done so. Or maybe a less subtle example is learning about the taser turrets. As you are greeted by a dead man on the floor and you turn back on the power, you see him twitching. But not just him, several bodies now, all with clear yellow wires leading back to these turrets. We are told by the placing of the bodies and the objects that this will happen to you if you are seen by these machines. Brilliant. Playdead uses mise-en-scene to perfectly frame each transition into every chapter. As you approach the city, there is a perfect centerline between the new and the old. As we leave behind the buildings and lifestyles that we are familiar to, which is shown by the lights and the understanding of the objects, we are now heading towards a huge silhouetted unknown object, but most importantly, there are figures and even scaffolding showing us there is something new and possibly incomplete about our next journey. As you make your way through the city, you begin to see these drones and enslaved people all moving in sync, timed perfectly to a beat like a march of war or even the march of the undead making themselves get to work. For the most part, these are all seen in the background and nothing to really take any note of, except for the constant thumping and their footsteps, which is always present and is always asking you to take note of. You must understand this rhythm and get it down perfectly like your own heartbeat. You are then forced and thrown into the foreground with these drones and you must continue the beat and the rhythm that they've been playing in your head for the last 3 minutes. Now it's your turn to take place on this stage. But why am I talking about mise-en-scene so much? Well, there is a strong and clear message of conformity during this game. When we see people being enslaved all wearing grey and dull colours, while our character is the only one to wear a bright colour, it's no secret there is a message and narrative here, but I'm yet to even find and even understand what it means truly myself. But mise-en-scene here is forcing us to still follow this construct and follow the rules of this world. Though we are going against the man, we're still not truly our own person, and we are forced to follow these rules. As someone who was in the transgender closet for many years, and in some aspects of my life I'm still deeply stuck within it, I understand that feeling of being someone that you're not. It's a very lonely and sad life, and I often ran away from everyone who I felt like was going to hunt and attack me if I ever showed any sign of being myself. I'm not saying that this game's narrative is strictly LGBT related, but I'm saying there's a strong sense of anxiety in going against the norms, which is very present in this game. This game opens up with the boy literally coming out of hiding, and from that point he gets hunted and scared by the world that he so often fights against. Very much like myself when I was growing up, and the world that we see inside, we are forced to wear masks to blend in, create a persona that we can hide behind, which I know I did once upon a time. Anxiety plays a huge role in Inside, and perfectly plays on the mise-en-scene. The timing of props, lighting and objects in the frame all play their part on the anxiety in game's atmosphere. From outrunning armed men with dogs, or making daring dives past closing doors, or outswimming creatures of the depths. This game allows you to achieve your goals, but only in the nick of time. This game asks you to play your role on the stage itself, just so its timing and storytelling can be perfect, and that anxiety and fear is something that I felt within my life for a very long time. Growing up with a secret that I knew that I would have to tackle one day gave me anxiety of almost every day and every second for me growing up. Feeling alone and trapped inside my own body is some of the worst years of my life, and not knowing whether or not my issues and secrets will come to the foreground of my life was an anxiety building task on its own. So every day I was preparing for something to come around the next corner to spark off that anxiety and scare me to death. Am I saying I'm transgender right now? I'm not. No, I'm very gender fluid and I'm not really too bothered about what I wear or what people call me, but I understand and have to tackle my anxieties and even identity issues on my own. But I know that I have people who support me and care for me, and I know that I'm not alone in this fight anymore, and I just want to hope that I can give that to other people as well. I get inspired by this boy's action and push. He leads many drones, though through mind control helmets. It's his ideas and movements that bring all these drones together. Even the ones that are discarded and unfinished in some ways, he shows that they're able to help and push forward with him. But there is one threat in this game that the boy yet understands and can't control: the little girls that live within the waters. In the first view of these creatures, we are greeted to a creepy and deadly creature that will drown us with any chance it gets. But like all great horror, we're given no form of explanation or why or what they are. We fear what we don't understand. The boy tries his best to outrun and get away from these girls, but for me, I view these girls as the person the boy must become, overcome that fear and anxiety that he wants to outrun from. When we see one of these girls dormant, she is hooked up to a machine, almost like an umbilical cord. Something that we often link to new life and of course innocence. We're so desperate to not be captured by these creatures and not understand their intentions that it's only the fear of being pulled to the murky depths is all that goes through our mind. But one way or another, we can't keep running from our fears, and most importantly ourselves. We can't run away from who we're meant to become, because eventually it will just catch up with us. As the boy is pulled and dragged to the depths, we realise that they aren't trying to kill us, but give us a new life. She inserts one of these wires or cords into us, and we awake again. There is a quote that famously says, "You must kill the old you to become the person you want to be." This message speaks volume for everyone who is stuck inside a situation which I was. We craft ourselves these masks and personas to keep ourselves safe, but often or not will lead to our downfall. We must get rid of that old version of ourselves and become who you truly want to be, and become that person that truly makes you happy. With this new life and power, the boy no longer needs to worry about breathing within water and can speak to the drones without the use of a helmet. He has finally been given the new strength and power to achieve his goal. And not once during this story are we really told that the boy himself is a mask and a persona for something entirely different. We end the game knowing that this whole time he was a blob of people and ideas coming together, searching for freedom. After every single longevity and task that the boy was given, after every dog and creepy little girl that tried to kill him, we realised that he was only fighting for a chance to finally become who he really was inside. But we know that that fight was far from over. The boy was only playing his part on this stage of the world. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it got a little deep, but sometimes you really have to. I really feel like I can't just be a lie and not tell people about who I am, because I think it's important for people who are in the same situation as me, as someone who was in the closet as transgender or even other. It's important to remember that you're not alone. People like me support you and you're brave, you're beautiful, and you will eventually get there. And just understand that there are people out there who you can talk to, and there are people out there who you can see as friends and even close allies. I hope you enjoyed this video, and of course I will see you at the next checkpoints. Bye bye.